Good morning, my dear student. Let's start our today's science class. We have already started our chapter number 1, that is food production and management. In our previous video, we have learned about agricultural practices. We have started preparation of soil and sowing. In this video, we are continue other agricultural practices. So let's start one by one. Good morning, student. Let's start our today's science class. We have already started our chapter number 1, that is crop production and management. In our last video, we had started basic practices of crop production and we learned about preparation of soil and sowing seed. In this video, we are going to start the next basic practices of crop production, that is adding manure and fertilizers. So let's start. Adding manure and fertilizers. Manure and fertilizers are added to the soil in the form of nutrient for the healthy growth of plants. Soil provides minerals and nutrients to the crops essential for their growth. Okay, so you know that manure and fertilizer are very essential for the growth and development of plant. And where do plants get this manure and fertilizer? So definitely farmers, they add this manure and fertilizers to soil and plants absorb this manure and fertilizers through their roots. So the crop plants need a number of mineral elements for their growth, which they get from the soil through their roots. Now, repeated growing of crops in the same field remove a lot of precious mineral element, organic matter and other material from the soil. Due to this, the soil becomes infertile after some time and the crop yield decreases. So, unless the depleted plant nutrients are put back into the soil from time to time, the growth of crop would be poor. The deficiency of plant nutrients and organic matter in the soil is made up by adding manure and fertilizers to the soil. So question is that what is manure? So manure is an organic substance obtained from the decomposition of plants or animal wastes. Farmers dump plant and animal waste in pits at open places and allow it to decompose. The decomposition takes place by the action of some microorganisms. The decomposed organic matter is used as a manure. So manure is a natural fertilizer. A manure is a natural substance obtained by the decomposition of animal wastes like cow dung, human wastes and plant residue, which supplies essential element and humus to the soil and make it more fertile. Manures are prepared from animal wastes, human wastes and plant residue by the action of microorganisms. In order to prepare manure, farmers dump animal waste means animal dung, etc., and plant wastes like leaves, etc., in pits at open places and allow it to decompose slowly. The decomposition is carried out by some microorganisms. The decomposed animal and plant matter is used as organic manure. So I hope it is clear to you that that manure is a natural fertilizer and it is formed by decomposition of plants and animal wastes by the action of microorganisms like bacteria and fungi. So let's move toward fertilizers. So what are fertilizers? Fertilizers are nutrient rich chemical substances. They are specific in their content. The most commonly used fertilizers are NPK fertilizer. These are rich in nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. Urea, ammonium sulfate, CAN, that is calcium ammonium nitrates, superphosphates are some other fertilizers. Chemical fertilizers are popular with farmers as they are easy to use and help to get better crop yield. Now, however, excessive use of fertilizer should be avoided as they cause water and soil pollution. So, let's talk about something more of chemical fertilizers. A chemical fertilizer is a salt or an organic compound containing the necessary plant nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, or potassium to make the soil more fertile. A chemical fertilizer is rich in particular plant nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus, or potassium. Some example of fertilizers are urea, ammonium sulfate, superphosphate, potash, and NPK. So NPK stand for nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. The chemical fertilizers are nutrient specific. This means that a chemical fertilizer can provide only nitrogen, only phosphorus, or only potassium to the soil as required. The chemical fertilizers have plant nutrient in a concentrated form, so they provide quick replenishment of plant nutrient in the soil and restore its fertility. The chemical fertilizer can be applied before sowing, during irrigation, or spread on standing crops. The use of fertilizer has helped the farmer to get better yield of crop such as wheat, paddy, and maize, etc. So by using chemical fertilizers, farmer they can get better yield. It means they can increase their more and more crop production. But chemical fertilizer has one drawback. The excessive use of fertilizer is harmful. So now let's see what are the differences between fertilizers and manure. So let's start with fertilizer. So fertilizer is a salt or an organic compound. What is manure? A manure is a natural substance obtained by the decomposition of animal wastes like cow dung, human waste, and plant residue. Next, a fertilizer is prepared in factories. Definitely, fertilizers are chemical substances and they are made in factory. Manure can be prepared in the field from animal and plant waste. Uh, fertilizer does not provide any humus to soil. Manure provide a lot of humus to soil because manure is made up of dead remains of plant and animals. So it provide a lot of humus which increase the fertility of the soil. Whereas fertilizers they do not provide humus to the soil. Fertilizers are very rich in plant nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Manure is relatively less rich in plant nutrients and it provides only humus. So as compared to fertilizers, manure is relatively less rich in plant nutrients, whereas fertilizers is very rich in plant nutrients. 5. It is a source of water pollution. And manure, it means fertilizer, it is source of water pollution. So I told you previously that at the excessive use of fertilizer it causes pollution. So it is one of the source of water pollution. But manure, it is non polluting and maintain the ecosystem. It means that it is environment friendly. So that's why manure farmers they have to use more and more because it maintains the fertility of the soil and it maintains the ecosystem also. Now about manure, manure is absorbed slowly by the plants because it is not much soluble in water. So manure absorbs slowly because it is not much soluble in water, but fertilizers they soluble in water. So being a soluble in water, a fertilizer is readily absorbed by plant. तो जो fertilizer होते हैं water में easily soluble होते हैं, तो प्लांट्स जो होते हैं उनको रेडिली एब्जॉर्ब करते हैं. एंड मैन्योर वो वाटर सॉल्युबल नहीं होते हैं, सो दे आर, it means they slowly absorb by the plant. So it is one more difference between manure and plant. So our next topic is advantages of manure. The manure is an organic material. The organic manure is considered better than fertilizers because of following reason. Manure enhances the water holding capacity of the soil. मैन्योर सॉइल की वाटर होल्डिंग कैपेसिटी को इंक्रीज करता है. मैन्योर मेक द सॉइल पोरस ड्यू टू विच द एक्सचेंज ऑफ गैसेस बिकम ईजी. मैन्योर सॉइल के पार्टिकल्स को पोरस बनाता है, यानी जो होल्स होते हैं, इट मीन्स थ्रू दैट होल्स एक्सचेंज ऑफ गैसेस बिकम ईजी, यानी ईजिली गैस अंदर भी आएगा और गैस बाहर भी जाएगा. दैट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ पोरस. Number 3, manure increases the number of useful microbes in the soil. Yes, students, so these microbes are very, very essential because they decompose the dead remains of plants and animals and increase the fertility of the soil. Manure improves the texture of the soil. और जो manure होता है वो soil के texture यानी soil की बनावट को भी improve करता है. So thus manure is considered better than fertilizer. It replenishes the soil. So manure is a method of, it means by using manure it replenishing the soil with nutrients. Another method used by farmers to replenish the soil is crop rotation. In this method, different crops are grown alternately. After the harvesting, the farmers grow legume pulses. Legume have the bacteria rhizobium in their root nodules. They fix the atmospheric nitrogen. Thus, legume help in the replenishment of nitrogen. More and more farmers are adopting this method to encourage organic farming. Okay, so crop rotation is one method due to which we can provide more and more nitrogen rich fertilizer to the soil. But how? Crop rotation is the practice in which different type of crops, leguminous crops and non-leguminous crops, are grown alternately in the same field or soil is called crop rotation. In crop rotation, the cereal crops like wheat, maize, paddy and millet are grown alternately with leguminous crops like pulses, peas, beans, groundnut and cloves, etc. in the same field. For example, when a cereal crop like maize crop is grown first, it takes away a lot of nitrogen from the soil for its growth and make the soil nitrogen deficient. And next, when leguminous crop like pulses or groundnut is grown in the same field, then the leguminous crop with its nitrogen fixing bacteria enrich the soil with the nitrogen compound and increase its fertility. So it means that the leguminous crop, in their root nodules rhizobium bacteria is there, and rhizobium bacteria, it fixes the atmospheric nitrogen. So it means that nitrogen is available in the gaseous form in atmosphere. So gaseous form is not directly absorbed by the plant. So that gaseous form is first converted into usable form by rhizobium bacteria, and then only plants get nitrogen from the soil. More and more farmers they are adopting this method to encourage organic farming. Now, what is organic farming? So organic farming is a method of crop production that avoid the use of pesticides, fertilizers, genetically modified organisms, antibiotics and growth hormones. So next topic is irrigation. Water is important for proper growth and development of flower, fruits, and seeds of plant absorb water by the roots. Along with water, mineral and fertilizers are also absorbed. Plant contain nearly 90% of water. So it means that all the crop plant need water for their growth. The crop plant absorb water from the soil. The amount of water in the soil is not constant throughout the year. Water from the soil is lost constantly by evaporation and percolation of lower depth of the ground. It is therefore necessary to supply water to the plant in the fields periodically. So, the process of supplying water to crop plant in the field is called irrigation. So, um, irrigation is very important because water is one of the essential thing for the growth and development of plant. And you know that plant contain nearly 90% of water. Now question is that why is irrigation necessary? So irrigation is necessary because of germination without water cannot take place. What is germination? The process by which plant grow. So that is germination. If means if no water, plant cannot germinate. Nutrient cannot be transported to different part of the plant without water. So for that also water is very essential because water help to supply nutrient to different part of a plant. Water protect the crop from frost and hot air currents. So it is also very important. Water protect the crop from frost. What is frost? So frost is the weather condition when the temperature falls below 0 degrees Celsius and a thin layer of ice falls on the ground. So you just think this type of condition is very harsh, and water then water must so we must irrigate our fields, or supply of water is very essential because water protect from such a harsh condition. So water protect the crop from frost and hot air current. So what is hot air current? So hot air current means air currents are winds. It means that it is a wind that move in a river like flow in a certain direction. So these are the weather condition, and these two conditions are protected by the help of water only. The supply of water to crop at different interval is called irrigation. The time and frequency of irrigation varies from crop to crop, soil to soil, and season to season. For example, wheat cultivation Wheat cultivation requires a lot of water at different stages of its growth, while paddy requires standing water. Similarly, in summer, frequency of irrigation is higher due to increased rate of evaporation. In our country, rain is the main source of irrigation. The other sources of irrigation are wells, tube wells, ponds, lakes, rivers, dams, and canals. So, you see that the frequency of irrigation of crops also varies from season to season. It means as time to time the frequency of irrigation is changes. For example, the frequency of irrigation means watering. So the frequency of irrigation of the crop is higher in summer season because at that time the rate of evaporation is very fast. This is because during the hot days of summer, the rate of evaporation of water from the soil and the leaves of crop plant is increased. On the other hand, the frequency of irrigation of the crop is comfortably lower in the colder winter seasons. So, sources of irrigation, you know that river, canals, wells, tube wells, dams, ponds and lakes. But rain is a source of irrigation of crop. It means that farmers they depend on rain also for the irrigation of crop. The water available in the wells, lakes and canals is lifted up by the different method in different regions for taking it to the fields. So let's see that traditional methods of irrigation. The various traditional methods of irrigation are: we have moat, that is pulley system, chain pump, dhekli, and rahat, that is lever system. So you can see in picture is there, and picture of rahat, dhekli, and chain pump. The water available in wells, lakes, and canal is lifted up by different methods in different regions for taking it to field with the help of cattle or humans. These methods are cheaper but less efficient. Okay, so by the help of different methods, farmers, they can lift this water by the help of cattle. It means by animals or humans. So these methods are cheaper, but these are not very efficient in the field of irrigation. So we should see which method is very efficient. So for that we have modern method of irrigation. So what are the modern methods of irrigation? Modern methods of irrigation, we have sprinkler system of irrigation and drip system of irrigation. So the modern methods of irrigation help us to use water economically. The two main modern methods of irrigation are sprinkler system and drip irrigation system. So first of all we will talk about a sprinkler system. In sprinkler system of irrigation, a main pipeline is laid in the fields. Perpendicular pipes having rotating nozzles at the top are joined to the main pipeline at regular intervals. When water from a when water from a tube well is allowed to flow through the main pipeline under pressure with the help of a pump, it escapes from the rotating nozzles. This water gets sprinkled on the crop plants as if it is raining. It means that it sprinkles on crop plant like rain. The sprinkler system of irrigation is more useful for the uneven land whereas sufficient water is not available. So जहाँ पे लैंड अनइवन है, जहाँ पे लैंड बराबर नहीं है, जो हिली एरिया है खास तौर से, whereas sufficient water is not available. तो uneven lands में जहाँ पे ज़्यादा पानी नहीं है, जहाँ पे पानी की कमी है, so in that type of land the sprinkler system is also very beneficial. The sprinkler system is also very useful for sandy soils. So a sprinkler system is best for sandy soils also. Now second we have drip system. In the drip system, there is a network of narrow pipes or tubes with small holes in the fields. When water flows through the narrow pipes, it falls drop by drop at the position of root of the plants. This water is absorbed by the soil in the root zone of a plant and utilized by the plant. There is no runoff or wastage of irrigating water. So in drip irrigation system there is no any wastage of water. Drip system is the best technique for watering fruit plants, trees and gardens. Drip irrigation system has the following advantages. So let's see that what is the advantages of drip irrigation system has. Drip system provide water to plants drop by drop. So water is not wasted at all. So really it is a very beneficial way. Number two, drip system minimizes the use of water in agriculture. So drip system of irrigation is very useful in those regions where the availability of water is poor. So now this is about irrigation. Okay, so let's move toward protection from weeds. So what are weeds? When we grow a food crop in the field, then in addition to the crop plant, many small unwanted plants also germinate and grow in the field naturally. The unwanted plant or wild plant which grow along with a cultivated crop are called weeds. The growth of weeds in the field is harmful because they consume a lot of fertilizer, water, sunlight and space. meant for the crop plant and reduce the crop yield and lower the quality of food grains. Since the presence of weeds in the field will reduce the crop yield, therefore, it is necessary to remove them from time to time. Though most of the weeds get uprooted during the plowing of fields, but they reappear when the crop grows. The weeds multiply and spread very fast because they produce a large quantity of seeds. The type of weeds vary from field to field, from crop to crop, and also from season to season. Some of the common weeds or unwanted plants found in wheat and rice fields are wild oat, we call javi, grass, in Hindi we call ghas, amaranthus, that is cholai, and chinopodium, that is bathua. So these are very common weeds. आई होप आप लोगों ने ये देखा भी होगा फील्ड्स में. सिंस weeds are harmful to the crops, they must be removed from the field. The process of removing weeds from a crop field is called weeding. Weeding is necessary because weeds compete with crop plants for water, nutrients, light, and space. Compete means competition. Light and space and hence after the growth of the crop. तो अगर weeds fields में होंगे तो ये crop plants के साथ compete करते हैं. It means ये भी इन्हें भी water की ज़रूरत होती है, nutrient की ज़रूरत होती है, light की और space की. So they just start doing competition with the crop plant. So this is not good for the growth of the crop plant. Some weeds are poisonous for human being and animal, whereas some weeds interfere in harvesting. The best time for the removal of weeds is before they produce flower and seeds. Weeding is done by hand or with the help of implements like trowel, that is called khurpa. Weeds can also be destroyed or controlled by spraying special chemicals like weedicides in the crop fields. Thus, the various methods of weeding, that is controlling weeds or eradicating weeds are as follow. तो हम कैसे weeds को ख़त्म कर सकते हैं? And the method is called weeding. Number 1, the first point is removal of weeds by pulling. Removal of weeds by pulling them out with hands. So by the help of hands we can pull weeds. Weeds can be removed from the crop fields just by pulling them up with hands. When we pull the weeds, they get uprooted from the fields. These uprooted weeds can be thrown away. Number 2, removal of weeds by using trowel, that by the help of khurpa. Weeds can be removed by digging or cutting them close to the ground from time to time with the help of an implement called trowel or khurpa. और trowel you have आप लोगों ने trowel देखा भी होगा. Number 3, we have destroying the weeds by spraying special chemicals like weedicides. So weedicides are chemical and by help of that chemicals we can destroy weeds. The poisonous chemical which are used to kill weeds in the fields are called weedicides. So what are weedicides? Weedicides are those chemicals which is used to kill weeds in the fields. Some of the common weedicides are 2,4-D, MCPA and butachlor. A solution of weedicide in water is sprayed on the standing crop in the fields with a sprayer. The weedicides kill or destroy the weeds but do not damage the main crop. The weedicide are sprayed in crop field before the flowering and seed formation in the weeds take place. Since weedicides are poisonous chemicals, therefore spraying of weedicides may affect the health of a person who handles the weedicide sprayer. The weedicides should be sprayed on the standing crops very carefully. During the spraying of weedicides, the person should cover his nose and mouth properly with a piece of cloth. Okay, my dear student, that's all for today's class. Now revise all the topics, revise all the terms which I taught you in this video and previous video. Please make neat and clean notes in science copy. And let's wait for the next video. Thank you for watching this video.